Yes, not so many people actually, go the extra mile. So there's little or no traffic in the extra mile. So whatever you do, just make sure you go, a lot further than regular most people would do. Welcome to the conversation on TOSTV Television Network, your digital first Pan-African news network. And as always, we're reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Our conversation, as always, entertains, educates, and, just enlightens you about stories and happenings from across Africa with focus on Nigeria. My name is Adesuwa Osui, and I'll be bringing you COVID-19 updates from across Africa right now. Yes, COVID is still out there, and you need to keep, protecting yourself. So COVID-19 updates from across Africa, and after that, we're moving straight into the crux of the conversation. That's the big story. You're still watching the conversation on TOS Television Network, and as I always say, you have to be part of the conversation. Just join TOS TV Network across all social media platforms. That's TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube with TOS TV Network. And of course, you can stream our website from news, stories, and happenings from across the world. It's www.tostvnetwork.com. Now, moving straight into the conversation for today, everybody around the world is talking about the Russia-Ukraine, war, the ongoing tension between, both countries, and Nigeria is not left out actually. And so last week, the global market actually took a beating, the rise in tension between Russia and Ukraine. And as a result, there have been worries and speculation as to what would happen to economies like Nigeria if the tension lingers. So today in the conversation, I'll be looking at, or we'll be talking about, what Nigeria should expect from the Russian-Ukraine war, looking at it from the, economy perspective. And to help me, analyze and dissect that is Prince Aliyu Audu. He is an economist. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And so I think it was last week that it was reported that trade between Nigeria and Russia that was valued at over 2 billion naira, or $2 billion actually, is at risk, and that Nigeria stands the risk of suffering, from significant food shortages, going by what's happening in Russia and Ukraine right now. How so? Can you just break that down for me?
Thank you very much. The trade between the imports from Russia to Nigeria stands at about 993 billion naira, which is almost $2 billion. Now, what makes the majority of that is wheat, fish, and some agricultural imports. Now, because of the sanctions, I think this is going to affect production in Russia. Not only production, means of transportation. You cannot transport it from Russia to other countries. And as such, we are going to face shortages in terms of wheat. And the alternative to that is for us to look elsewhere, or to support local farmers. Support local farmers to produce, and so that we can make ourselves self-sufficient. Nigeria has a very good agricultural land, and just like they did for rice, before we're importing Thailand rice. Today, we're growing our rice, and we're about to start exporting rice. So I think we can do that for Nigeria too.
Okay. It's good that you actually, mentioned the sanctions, on Russia by Western economies. Russia happens to be, a powerhouse in the global economy, being one of the largest exporters of crude products. And you mentioned the sanction that, Western economies have placed on Russia. Is that expected to affect Nigeria's import capacity in any way?
Well, yes, the sanctions that the Western countries are putting in Russia is going to take a toll on the Russian economy, and is going to affect its ability to export to Nigeria. We will be importing. So definitely that is going to affect our ability to import wheat, fish, and what have you from Russia. Is going to be the impact is going to be felt, and it's going to limit our ability because sanctions comes in different forms.
Yeah.
Russia has been banned from a lot of things, especially the SWIFT system. A lot of banks can transact with SWIFT now.
Yeah.
So they have to look for different means to, make payments through third parties, through third countries. So Russia is facing a lot of economic issues right now, and you don't even know. Do you maybe they cannot even support their own local consumption in the face of these sanctions? So they might want to keep the consumption within Russia. So the sanction is really going to affect Russian economy. Already the ruble, the Russian currency has fallen by a great deal.
Yeah.
The stock market has almost crashed. A lot is going on in Russia. People are lining up on ATMs. So they will have to focus on internal consumption before they even think about importation, because it's not business as usual.
Okay, let's move away from Russia. Let's go to Ukraine. Nigeria is actually one of the most important commercial partners of Ukraine in sub-Saharan Africa. And so this whole tension that's happening between both countries, is it the commercial trade turnover from that partnership that Nigeria has with Ukraine? Is it so significant that if it halts at this point, it's going to hurt our economy, in some way?
Well, everybody's economy, given what is happening in Russia, everybody's economy is going to be hurt, because if Nigeria trades with Ukraine and there's a stop to that trade, definitely we're going to feel the impact, because we have to look for alternative markets for our import and exports, the same. And in the interim that we cannot replace it because of war, we are going to face the brunt of it. So it makes a lot of sense that we should try to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah.
There are other positive effects to what is going on in the war, which nobody wants to talk about, which we shouldn't be talking about, is the increment in oil prices, eventual increment in oil prices, and that's going to benefit Nigeria. But, war is always negative. The negative effects is more than positive effects.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, but before I come to that, how would this, what would be the direct impact of all of this that you have mentioned on Nigeria, by extension, Nigerians, going by, the shaky economy that, although they did say that we had a 3.4% growth in GDP and all of that, but looking at the fuel scarcity, increase in food prices and all that we're already dealing with, what would be the direct impact of all of this on Nigerians?
Well, thank God we're not in Europe, so the impact is less felt. And Russia, I believe, is our seventh biggest trading partner. So we still have other trading partners that we can trade with. Okay. Well, we already had the fuel crisis before the war started. Yeah. Now it's going to be worse, because we also import refined petroleum from Russia. So obviously we cannot do that now. And since there's a lot of increment in price now, and there's a lot of shocks in the international economy, that is going to absorb the availability of crude oil, meaning we should expect to have more shortages, because since Russia, Europe, and America are now they don't want to buy Russian oil. So that means, that shortage will be created in the international market. And that means we cannot get refined petroleum product as we used to, because of the war going on right now. So there's going to be a general shock to the international economy and the international oil market, which will trickle down and would affect our own economy. Okay. Meaning we should expect some form of fuel shortage. How long that's going to last, I don't know. But we also have supply side surprises, or countries that can make up for it, like Saudi Arabia and a couple of other countries that can, increase their production, and that could help. Again, that's why we should start refining our oil, because if we have our refineries working, then we don't need to look elsewhere to buy refined petroleum products.
So you don't see any good coming out of this for Nigeria at this point?
At this point, there is more of negative than positive. The only positive I see is that there's an increment in oil prices, which would increase our revenue from oil. that is the only positive thing I see. And remember, we're trying to move away from oil.
Yeah.
So how much longer are we going to be waiting for for shocks in the global economy to create increment in crude oil prices?
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe that a lot of other countries are facing more shocks than us, especially Europe, because Europe depends on Russia for about 20 to 40% of their oil and gas. But Nigeria, we don't depend solely on Russia. Russia is our seventh trading partner. We have other trading partners. We have the US, we have China, we have the UK, we have other trading partners. So the effect will be felt, but very
mildly,
very minimal.
Okay.
Not like European countries. European countries are going to face more shocks and more economic issues than we will.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Such a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have
Cheers.
you. Thank you for staying with me on the conversation up until this time. Don't forget that I'll be back here same time, same channel tomorrow. But before then, follow TOSTV Network across all social media platforms. It's TOSTV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It's TOSTV Network. And you can stream our website for news and stories from across the world. It's www.tostvnetwork.com. My name is Adesu Elsie. Thank you and join me again tomorrow.